what has changed to get us to this point?
There are 3 points, in my view, which finally led to the ceasefire, which Qatar, Egypt, the United States have mediated. One is the domestic Israeli position. You know, Netanyahu had claimed that he would defeat Hamas, but his former defense minister had openly disagreed, and he had said Israel cannot defeat Hamas. To this day, Israel has not defeated Hamas. Number 2, he wanted to get the Israeli hostages, which he has not been able to get. It is only through negotiations he is getting. And thirdly, there is virtual revolt in the Israeli army, which has been sent more than 5-6 times to the same place in Gaza, and it has been facing fierce resistance from the Hamas fighters. Fourthly, you see the casualties and the injured Israeli soldiers in Gaza has overwhelmed the Israeli society, which is a reserve army. And number 2, it is Turkey's important role by supporting HTS in overthrowing Bashar al-Assad, which changed the geostrategic geopolitical situation completely. And Israel was able to occupy more areas in Golan Heights, and the removal of Bashar al-Assad was a major development which induced Israel and the United States to work hard. And also the ceasefire in Lebanon also reassured Israel and the partners to work seriously for the ceasefire. But what is significant is this same proposal was proposed by the United States as a US-Israeli proposal, but Netanyahu continued to reject because of his corruption cases and the extremist government he heads. Now, because of the economic challenges and Donald Trump's key role in sending his envoy to Qatar and to Israel, finally clinched the issue. There was no way Netanyahu or his supporters could have said no to Donald Trump, because he has fixed 20th January as the deadline to work for a deal. And all these factors from Hamas, which also suffered innumerable casualties, and the civilians who suffered more than 10,000 lives could have been saved since June last year if Netanyahu had accepted the ceasefire. So the combined domestic, regional, and global factors have compelled both the parties to work for the ceasefire, and the entire conscience of the world was shaken by the live genocide which Israel was carrying out in defiance of world public opinion and United Nations, ICJ, ICC, and it has tormented people not just in Gaza, but in the rest of the region and around the world, who millions of people were on the street in the cold, in the rain, and in very difficult circumstances. People rallied in favor of the Palestinians and against the Israeli barbarism, which the whole world has witnessed. So in that way, it is a very big achievement, not only for Turkey, but also for the United States and for the Palestinians, and the much relief which they need in terms of humanitarian aid. I think this is going to trickle step by step from Jordan, from Egypt, from Israel, and around the world. The entire world is looking forward to help the Palestinians rebuild their lives, which have been shattered, who were denied water, who were denied medicine, who were denied decent dignity as human beings. So in that way, I think the entire world is looking forward to the implementation. Although it is prolonged, it will take several weeks in 3 phases. But I think there is immense relief that this has been achieved.
Certainly, Aftab, and of course we have the three phases laid out ahead for the coming weeks, but What do you anticipate the coming weeks will bring for the people of Gaza? Of course, we're seeing an intensification of strikes. Currently, people are still dying. It doesn't come into place until Sunday. And so what do you expect we will hear from Netanyahu when he does speak about the ceasefire going forward? And what will the coming weeks bring?
Well, obviously, the Israeli Prime Minister will take credit for achieving this ceasefire, although he was compelled to accept this ceasefire by the incoming presidential envoy, Steve Witkoff, who had to use all his diplomatic skills to persuade him and his colleagues to accept the ceasefire. It will also rehabilitate him because Israel is a broken country. It has a broken economy. It has strained its relations with the United States, with its neighbors, and with the European partners. And it was getting isolated from every corner of the world. So in that way, I think it will also refurbish them. But more significantly, it will reduce the tears and the cries of the Palestinian people who were yelling at the whole world to save children, to save women, to save humanity, and who were pushed to the wall from, at least from my information, Palestinians have shifted at least a dozen times from one place to the other, from Rafah to northern part, from Rafah, from north to Al-Awesi. All of this has been very traumatizing, especially for the children who have lost their parents, who are dislocated, who have lost their limbs, who have lost their eyes. It is a very traumatic country. People, children, women, elderly people in cold, in winter, and very harsh conditions. I think the first thing would be getting them relief, getting them some decent tents to live decently in their houses or tents, and food to eat, who have become malnourished, and famine-like conditions which prevailed for more than 15 months. No other part of the world has suffered so much in the last 15 months. Right in front of cameras, in front of social media videos, so on and so forth. So in that way, it is immense relief. And people will not allow any obstacle on the part of Israel to use any pretext or excuse to delay in implementation of this important milestone in the lives of the people who have suffered so much.
Aftab Kamal Pasha joining us from New Delhi, Professor of Middle East Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Thank you so much for your time here on TRT World.